What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Action Network podcast presented by DraftKings. I am your host, Chris Raybon, and today it is our annual Oscars betting episode. I am joined by fellow Oscar betting expert, dare I say enthusiast, co-host of the Payoff Pitch as well, the very, very knowledgeable Collin Whitchurch. You can find him on Twitter at CO Whitchurch, WHITCHURCH. Collin, what's going on? Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, happy to be here, Chris. We did this last year. It was a little bit of a mixed bag, if I recall, last year, the Oscars. There was a lot. There's a lot more up in the air, I think, this year in some of the major categories. So I'm really excited to dive back in. I follow. You and I come at this, I think, from different angles. I start following these odds and tracking these odds like 6 months ago. You jump in kind of at the end. You've got your model. You got your theory. People will hear us talk a lot about Gold Derby today, and they're experts and editors. But I live and breathe film, and so what better way to add on to my film obsession than betting on the Oscars, which I've been following insanely close for more than 20 years now. So let's do it. Let's get into 2026. I'm excited about it.
Okay, yeah. So you got a good decade on me because I started getting into it. I think it was the year Moonlight won. I was like, I think Moonlight's gonna win, but I wasn't betting. I didn't even know you could bet the Oscars that year, and then it won. And I was like, holy shit, I could have made money on this. And then every single year since, I've been betting. So it's been about 10 years, but. All right, we're going to start with Best Picture. We're going to go through the major categories, and then we have a bunch of best bets, if you will, on some of the lesser categories where usually there's more of an edge. Although, as you mentioned, Colin, this year, I do think even some of the main categories are a little bit more up in the air than in prior years. So I'm going to start us off with Best Picture. Colin, just curious if you had to give me like a preferential ballot top three before we get into who you think is actually going to win and who you're betting on, just like your 1, 2, 3 on preferential ballot, who would they be for this year?
Honestly, I'm very, very comfortable being like super contrarian when it comes to what my favorite films of the year are. I fancy myself something of a film critic. I went to school for it, all that stuff. The Academy kind of nailed it this year. One Battle After Another is probably my favorite film, the best film of the year to me, in my opinion. Sinners is right up there, and then those are the two favorites, and right behind that, Hamnet, I would probably put third. There are a couple others that I liked. 9 of the 10 nominees, I would say, are very good movies.
Wait, let me guess the one you didn't like. Let me try to guess.
Actually, 8 of 10, I would say I like that. If I'm being honest.
Which are the two? Which are the two?
Frankenstein, did not vibe with Frankenstein at all this year, and that broke my heart because I love Guillermo del Toro. And then F1, severely disappointing. It was by the director of Top Gun Maverick. It was the exact same story as Top Gun Maverick, but lacked all the nostalgia that made Top Gun from the first movie that made Top Gun Maverick so entertaining. Everything else I enjoyed to varying degrees, but One Battle, Sinners, Hamnet, big fans of those. That would be my top 3 if I were a voter of some sort.
Okay, what about if you were better? What are we doing here? So, and just for everyone listening out there, we have prediction markets now too. So DraftKings, we have the sports book, and we have the prediction markets. The difference with the prediction markets on DraftKings is for some of these, you could bet no as well. So that is an important distinction. So not only can you bet on like the winner, but you could bet if you just think there's going to be an upset, for example, you don't know exactly who's going to make the upset. You could bet no in a lot of categories, which I love. Shout out to DraftKings for doing that because if you listen to me do an NFL podcast, you always know that one of my gripes with the touchdown market is that you can never bet no unless it's like the Super Bowl or something like that. And then you can bet no touchdown. So shouts to DraftKings for allowing us to bet no if you go to the DraftKings prediction. And so some of these odds will be kind of ping-ponging back and forth depending on where you can get the better odds. But DK prediction should be available in more places to whoever's listening if you're able. So that's just one thing I wanted to point it out. But Collin, what are we doing for best pictures? Again, you mentioned it. We have One Battle After Another as the favorite around minus 400 at the sportsbook. And then Sinners is plus 275 at DK Sportsbook. That is the main kind of contender here. Everything else is 200, plus 2,000 or longer.
Yeah, so One Battle After Another has been the favorite for almost the entirety of award season. The one film kind of late fall, late 2025 that seemed like it was going to take it over might have been Hamnet. But One Battle After Another has been it seemed like a foregone conclusion. We were leading up to the culmination of One Battle After Another as film of the year, as Paul Thomas Anderson as director of the year. It's still very much expected to do so, but just these last couple of weeks leading up to Showtime, there's been some momentum behind Sinners. It's just risen up again over these last couple of weeks. Now, one of the major precursor award shows, the best predictors of Best Picture success are the PGA, the Producers Guild Awards, and the DGA, the Directors Guild Awards. The PGA's top prize has gone to 17 of the last 25 Best Picture winners. The DGA is 16 for the last 25. That includes last year. In fact, the only two major precursor awards to pick a Nora before the Oscars last year were the PGA and the DGA. So One Battle After Another won the top prize at both this year. It also won the top prize at the BAFTAs, and it won at the Golden Globes. The Golden Globes separates its Best Pictures into two different categories. One Battle After Another was in a category separate from Sinners and Hamnet. One Battle After Another won its category, and actually Hamnet beat out Sinners that night in their Best Picture category. Now, the Golden Globes are not a huge precursor. I didn't put a lot of stock into that. The only precursor, though, award that Sinners won was the most recent one 2 weeks ago at the Screen Actors Guild Awards, now called the Actor Awards. And there's precedent there. It's few and far between, though. Since 2000, there have been 3 instances where Best Picture winners' only precursor one came from the SAG. 2019, when it was Parasite, 2015, when it was Spotlight, and 2005, when it was Crash. Now, even if you were taking the math of those last 25 years at face value, which you absolutely should not do, that says that Sinners wins Best Picture about 13% of the time, making the 23 to 26% range. The market is implying terrible value. The experts and editors at Gold Derby are buying into the hype too, however. And they have a fairly strong track record, as you'll talk about, I know, Chris. As of this writing, as of last night when I was writing these notes, 20% of them were picking Sinners to win Best Picture. So all of this is to say, I still expect One Battle After Another to win Best Picture on Sunday, but there's enough smoke around Sinners to keep an eye on the number. I have a position on Sinners from a few weeks ago at plus 400 that I'm sitting on. If you can get plus 400 or better on Sinners, I would bet it. I think that there's enough value there. Now, Sinners, as we know, set the record this year for most nominations ever at the Oscars. It has 16. We're going to find out really early in the night if this is just the night that all of the voters decided Sinners is the film of the year. Sinners, they're going to give everything to Sinners. That's what happened at the Screen Actors Guild. The Academy might take the same position. We're going to learn that really early in the night with some of these earlier categories, if Sinners is the film of the moment, if you will. And if that's the case, it might ride that momentum right to Best Picture. As it stands, I still expect One Battle After Another to win, but keep an eye on those odds. Plus 400 or better. I think Sinners is live enough that it might be worth a poke.
As we talked about off air, I've watched all of the Best Picture nominations except Secret Agent, so you'll have something on that in terms of the international category in a bit, but have watched all the others. My opinion on Sinners is this. What people are calling momentum, I call recency bias. What, like this was like one of the worst Best Picture noms in my opinion.
Wow.
Like, Sinners was not good.
Wow.
What Sinners is the film everyone saw. And that's why it's so what everyone's saying to me is momentum. It's this, it's that, it's recency bias, and it's familiarity, right? Because it was high grossing. It was cool, but I think it's actually a pretty strong year. Like I enjoyed Bugonia more than Sinners. I enjoyed the train movie. What is it called? Train Dreams more than Sinners. Yeah. I enjoyed F1 more than Sinners. Now, F1's dialogue was comically atrocious. Let's get that out of the way. But when I sat back and I just never found myself invested in Sinners. I thought, and I thought it was like 2 movies. I thought I liked where it was going, and I thought the second half of it was like when Jordan Peele goes wrong. It was like Ryan Coogler decided he wanted to make one of those kind of movies instead of just kind of doing a period piece and just you know what I mean? So it kind of delved into I don't think he did the supernatural as well as some other directors may. And I because I was looking at it too. I'm like, Sinners, it's the underdog in Best Picture. It's kind of the underdog in a bunch of other categories that like it could just be Sinners night. But I'm actually more convinced now that Sinners could set the record for losses. Like
I mean, when you're nominated that many times, it's kind of easy to do so.
Yeah. But I actually do like Sinners in a few categories, but not this. I think if like this is the only bet you can make is Sinners. Like if unless you're, I mean, I don't know how much books are letting you get down, but if you can get enough down on one battle, I think that's the pick. But if you're looking for an underdog bet, I think the only bet is Sinners. Enjoy Marty Supreme more than Sinners, by the way. Another one. So yeah, that's how my view. I'm not gonna bet Sinners. I think, but I think that's the bet if you want to be cheering, for something, you want to have some action on it. I think you bet no to one battle, and you bet yes on Sinners, and you pray because it's not impossible. I mean, and especially because we'll talk about director next. Paul Thomas Anderson of One Battle is like the clear front runner. And lately we've seen a few more splits, right? Like sometimes they're like, all right, well, he's going to get recognized there, so we'll recognize this movie here, and it's kind of split up. So that would be the angle, right? Like that would kind of be how Sinners gets there, you would think, right?
Yeah, definitely. I'm interested in your recency bias because I do think that there is some there's some validity to that, particularly with the acting awards being the last precursor, right?
Yep.
However, Sinners is the only Best Picture film, F1 too, I guess, but F1's not winning Best Picture.
It's not.
it's the only one that wasn't released in Oscar campaign season. This movie came out 10 months ago. Generally, Best Picture nominees, Best Picture contenders come out at the very, very end of 2025 because studios want the recency bias. They want a movie that's fresh in people's minds. Sinners came out so long ago. There's not a super long track record of films winning Best Picture that are released early in the year. I know Crash did. I think Parasite or Everything Everywhere All at Once might have. I don't have a list off the top.
That was a great movie. There's not a track record of movies as bad as Sinners winning Best Picture. Well, I wanted to like it, bro. Like I feel like.
Yeah, if you think Sinners is as bad as you say it is, which first of all you're insane. Crash is your parallel, and Crash
is one of my favorite movies of all time, bro. Wow. Nope, not even doing it. I just don't get the hype for Sinners. Like I love the message behind it. Let me not say that. Like I love the message behind it, but like I thought we were past. It's 2026 now. It's not 2020 anymore. Like I thought we were past like the fake virtue signal-y, like, oh, Oscar's not black enough. This that. Like it's like, yo, like I'm as a black person, I didn't like Sinners. I thought it could have been so much better. And I was a guy who I had a big bet on Black Panther to win Best Picture, and they never give Best Picture to like those kind of movies. And I love that movie. I don't know. Like Sinners to me did not do it for me. It seemed like two separate movies. The Michael B. Jordan thing was great, but like the actual two characters, like they weren't even as different as like I would have wanted for Michael B. Jordan to be getting the hype he's getting. Like he was kind of just acting like two of the same slightly different dude, in my opinion. And then it was like one half of the movie was like a period piece, and the second half was just like it wanted to be a whole different movie. And then it was like this, like, which I hate, these random breaks into song. Like absolutely, like you got to really be good at what you're doing to get away with one of those. And I just thought it was corny. Let me put it that way. I thought Sinners was corny as hell. I thought it was corny.
The interesting thing there for me is I do look at the narratives a lot. Like we look at the math here, right? We are the Action Network, but from a film perspective, you got to look at narratives a little bit. And another interesting thing about betting on the Oscars is that there's CLV is a myth, right? Because we don't know who gets second place here. I would love. I've been begging for years for the accounting firm that runs the Academy or the Academy to release ballot totals after the show.
PwC?
Wouldn't it be great to know who finishes in second place and how close they came? But we don't get that. So if you lose your bet, if you lose, you just lose. There's no almost in Oscar voting. But the one thing, so that all comes down to the narrative aspect of it is interesting. And we'll get into this a little bit with Best Actor as well with Timothée Chalamet, is you mentioned the politics behind it to a certain extent, and that has kind of fueled its charge, not because of what Sinners is saying, but because of what One Battle After Another being more contentious, and not necessarily, and it's more contentious in the fact that everything that's going on in the world right now, and Paul Thomas Anderson made this very divisive film that seems very apt for this time in our history, but he's every time in this entire circuit leading up to the Oscars, he's been asked about it. He's just kind of said, I'm not going to speak on that. I let my film do my speaking for me. Now, there's been blowback to that, and I don't think that's fair. Let me be very clear. I don't think it's fair that there's been blowback to him. Like, he's making art, and there's a difference between art and commentary sometimes to some people. But there has been a little bit of within the industry, like, blowback to One Battle After Another, and the folks who made it, and kind of what the actual message is. And you know, in a lot of respects, art and society and politics, they're inseparable to some people, and that's going to matter in the voting. So that's one of the reasons that Sinners has kind of caught up to One Battle After Another as close as it has. Now, again, we're talking about like a 75% to 25% gap or an 80 to 20 gap.
Goldberg has it 77 to 20.
Yeah. But if this were a horse race, you know, we're looking at a month ago, 2 months ago, One Battle After Another had a 10 body length lead. Now it's a 3 body length lead because it's been the gap has been shrinking. So I will not be surprised if Sinners wins on Sunday. It will be an upset. There are not very often upsets in Best Picture. It will be an upset. If I'm filling out a ballot, if I'm in a pool and I'm just need to pick who wins Best Picture, I'm picking One Battle After Another. But again, if you look at the odds board, you see Sinners again around plus 400. That's my bet.
Want to hear something? So interesting tidbit, and then we'll move on because we spent a lot of time on that. But
yeah,
you mentioned the upsets. 5 straight years from 2015 to 2020, there was an upset every single year in Best Picture. The last 5, no upsets. So it's been like 5 straight like front runners won, and then before that it was 5 straight upsets. So we could be due, but
yeah.
I think the SAG, giving it the recency bias, is like I'm not 100% sure on this, but I would venture to guess that the actors are the youngest branch of like Oscar voters, like because they're actors in there, whereas like producers and all those other people are generally.
It's also the biggest branch, though. It's also the
biggest. Absolutely. But like when you talk about politics and all that stuff, it's like that those awards are more likely to, just like kind of the Globes in a way, just because it's so small and so focused on like one specific place. Like those two, I think you see more of those kind of like politicky situations, but there's also just going to be a lot of like people that just watch and there's like this was like the 6th best film. Like, so I think it could very well finish second. I would be surprised if it finished first, but I do think that's the only bet you can make. Like if you're betting against One Battle, it is a 2 film race. Director Paul Thomas Anderson, he is minus the house essentially to win here. Any thoughts there? I mean, the only thing you could do is on predictions. You could bet no at plus 900, I guess. But that's not enough, right? He's minus 2,500 on the sportsbook to win.
Yeah, it's not enough for me. I think that regardless of what happens in Best Picture, this is PTA's crowning moment. You see the Academy do this with directors from time to time, most notably with Martin Scorsese back in the day, where 20 years ago, he was this up-and-coming kid, you know, when he was nominated for Best Director for There Will Be Blood, lost out to the Coen brothers, and it's like, well, no, you know, this film's really impressive, but it's not your time. And now we're at 20 years later, and they're saying, wow, this guy's up there. He's a aging veteran now, and we still haven't given him an Oscar yet. It's his year. Ryan Coogler, love you to death. You're a lot younger. Your time will come probably in the future. But every precursor points to PTA. The odds point to PTA. Don't need to spend a ton of time here. I think that he's going to get his big moment on Sunday night.
Best actor, I'm going Timothée Chalamet all the way here. You could get him at plus juice now. Now, I do think Michael B. Jordan was a great bet up until the SAG, essentially, when now he has overtaken Timothy for the lead. I still think Timothy was better. I think it is extremely difficult to play two characters the way MBJ did. I think he was great at what he did, but just watching the movie, I thought Timothy, I mean, that was the most realistic, like, pleading. Like, I've never seen such realistic pleading in a movie so many times as I do with Timmy. He was an annoying character, so I think he might be getting some hate for that. But that would be my pick. You could get him at plus 178 in DK predictions, plus 185 on the sports book, so you get a couple extra cents of juice if you go to the sports book. And then you could also bet Michael B. Jordan no at plus 138, which actually does show a little bit of value according to Gold Derby as well, because they have him about 50-50 shot there. But I know you kind of have some thoughts on this, because you think it's like a 3-4, maybe even 5-man race here.
Yeah, I think it's a 3-man race. Talk a little bit about the history things. This has been a crazy flip, and it could be recency bias, like you said, Chris. When Michael B. Jordan won at the ACTRA Awards 2 weeks ago, I was shocked. I was so sure that Timmy was winning that award. He would have solidified himself as the favorite for Best Actor. We'd go there. But the odds have flipped significantly since then, to the point where Michael B. Jordan is now the favorite. You might recall a year ago, young star Timothée Chalamet seemed headed for his first Best Actor prize for his role. It didn't happen. He was locked in a tight race with Adrian Brody. Brody emerged victorious. And Chalamet, who seems to really, really, really care about these kind of things, had to wait another year. Early on in the awards season, it seemed like his challenger was going to be Leonardo DiCaprio.
Who was great too.
Yeah, but buzz for his performance kind of faded. A lot of the love for One Battle After Another acting performances went to other roles in that film. Chalamet peaked around minus 350 in the market for Best Actor in January. He won several precursors. But things changed. At the BAFTAs, notably, the BAFTAs and the SAG are the two best precursors for the acting categories. And at the BAFTAs, shockingly, that went to neither of these guys, and it went to a guy who's not nominated tonight. It went to Robert Amoreyo for the movie about Tourette syndrome that I'm sure caused a little bit of stir. But the BAFTAs, the BAFTAs like to award their own. They like to award the British folks when given an opportunity. They awarded a British guy over Timmy, over Michael B. Jordan. Not a huge data point overall.
And the Oscars like to award their own, so Timmy would win.
Yes. And that's but honestly, you're right, because Timmy is in one respect like the male Emma Stone. Like, he's a darling. He's a theater kid. They love those guys. So Michael B. Jordan won at the ACTRA Awards. Sinners also won Best Ensemble Cast, the top prize at the SAG. And I thought maybe we'd get close to 50-50. Maybe it'd be 60-40 Timmy after that. Chalamet just can't shut up sometimes, though. After that, Chalamet, you may have read this, Chris, maybe this is news to you. He appeared at a CNN and Variety Town Hall event in late February. He had a conversation with Matthew McConaughey. He said he didn't want the movie theaters to go the way of ballet or opera, where artists want to keep this thing alive, even though no one cares about it anymore. And boy, did that piss people off. He disrespected the ballet and opera community. There was insane blowback. I'm not going to get into my personal opinions about it, because I honestly am the last person in the world who gives a shit what celebrities say on things, just their personal opinions on things. So I didn't care. But people cared. And this happened about a week before balloting ended for Best Actor. So now here we are. Jordan's the favorite, minus 170 to minus 200 range. Chalamet's plus 170 to 220 range. And what's extra interesting here is that while the experts and editors at Gold Derby agree with Jordan flipping with Chalamet, Jordan's still overvalued here. He's only picked around 52% of the time, but that's because of the presence of Wagner Moura for The Secret Agent. Now, we see this every year in the acting categories, where a acting performance from a non-English language film kind of sneaks up and everyone goes, oh, they're the sleeper, they're the stealthy, they're live. We saw it with Sandra Hüller 2 years ago. We saw it with Fernanda Torres last year. ends up going for naught. They end up losing again. Like I said earlier, we don't know how much they lost by. So did you really get some CLV there? But more than 10% at Gold Derby have Mora winning this, and Mora has had momentum all award season long. So how do we bet this? Do we factor in Mora? Do we ignore it? Do we say he's going to go the way of Torres and Hewler? Or is he a real player here as well? Now, I have early positions on both Jordan at about plus 130 and Mora at plus 1900, and I'm going to ride those out to Showtime. My hunch is that Chalamet still has a better chance of winning than his odds imply, but I'd probably need like plus 200 to show value there. If you can get Michael B. Jordan at plus money, I'd bet him. If you can get Wagner Mora at like plus 1350, plus 1400, I'd bet him there. As it stands, all of these odds, as we're recording, I believe are out of range, but there's numerous ways to bet depending on where the odds go in the next couple days between Chalamet, Jordan, and Mora.
Yeah, anything plus money for me for Chalamet. I just think he was the clear favorite, and then the Tourette's thing happened, and then the SAG happened, and now it's like, oh, it's Michael B. Like I think the experts and the odds and the people betting, everyone kind of flipped, but it's all just a reflection of the market, like, and not the true acting performance, which is what they're voting on. So it's like, we did this before. They told us somebody was going to win for politic reasons. And then they were like, haha, best winner, Anthony Hopkins. Okay, bye. Like, remember the Chadwick Boseman? Same kind of movie, too.
I will never forget that.
Yeah, all right, then.
I had money on Anthony Hopkins that night.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Like, Timmy is that. Like, Timmy was better. And Michael was great. It's close. Timmy was better. Now you could get him at plus money. I agree with you on, like, I think Mike was... Either one of them at plus money, I think makes sense. I think it is a close call, but I think Timmy was better. I think Timmy is getting knocked down. Kind of, it's artificial. It's politics, but at the end of the day, there's still a lot of non-pop political Academy Award voters. Yeah. I would say that. It
very well may be where you're at, and I have no. I love, again, as a film enjoyer and as an Oscar lover, I love that there are three that I don't know who's going to win Best Actor going into the race. I'm hoping this leads to us being able to cash some tickets on Sunday night, but the intrigue is really exciting.
Speaking of intrigue, Best Actress, you mentioned Emma Stone, the best actress alive, in my opinion, who is a long shot to win Best Actress because Jessie Buckley was just amazing. So we can't. I want to bet Emma Stone, but she wasn't as good as Jessie Buckley. This is the one acting category that is chalky, where there's no intrigue. Jessie Buckley is winning Best Actress. She is. I don't even have the odds in front of me. Where she's at. She is minus 2,500. Then you have Rose Byrne at 12-1, Kate Hudson at 25-1, Emma Stone at 25-1, and Renata. I don't even know how to say her last name.
Riensve. You want me to get super like nerdy independent film dork? Renate Riensve is the best actress on the planet right now.
She was really good. I honestly thought she would be. When I saw I knew Buckley was the favorite, but before I saw the odds board, I was assuming that she was going to be the contender.
Check out she's in last. For you and for all the listeners, check out The Worst Person in the World.
Love that movie.
Joachim Trier's previous film with her starring as well, and it's probably the best acting performance I've seen this century. Anyway. Our producer is rolling his eyes so hard right now. Like, will you guys get back on time? All
right, we'll get out of here.
The only thing I'll say about Best Actress is there was a time where it seemed like Rose Byrne was going to give Jessie Buckley a run for her money, and Rose Byrne is phenomenal in If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, which is one of the just darkest, bleakest movies I've ever seen. It was good. I never want to watch it again in my entire life. But Buckley has just run roughshod over everyone all award season long. She's winning this pretty easily on Sunday night.
Yeah, I had to Google Rose Byrne. So that supporting actor, Sean Penn, Skarsgård, those seem to be the two that are getting the most love. We got Penn at minus 350 at DK Sportsbook. Skarsgård is 4-1. Delroy Lindo's at 6-1. Then you have Benicio del Toro from One Battle at 20-1, along with Jacob Elordi Frankenstein 25-1. What do you think here? There's some chance for an upset here, right?
Yeah, this is one where I'm kicking myself. I want to give shout out to our colleague Michael Crossan. Normally does some TV betting for us, our NBA editor. He was calling Penn to me months ago. I thought Penn was locked when I saw this movie, 5-6 months ago. But the odds and the precursors, the really early precursors, weren't really lining up. Benicio was getting more love for that film, and I didn't get it, and so I didn't bet it. And then this seemed like, even on nomination day, it was like, oh, well, any of these 5 could win this award. Who knows who's going to come out on top? And then the BAFTAs came out and Sean Penn won. And then the actor awards came out and Sean Penn won. And it's like, okay, well, it's Sean Penn. One quick aside is that one of the things I think is exciting about this year's this year's Oscars is that even if Sean Penn doesn't win this and Benicio del Toro doesn't win it, which I don't think he's going to, we could have 4 first-time acting Oscar winners this year, because whether it's Michael B. Jordan or Timothée Chalamet, they're a first-time winner. Jessie Buckley's a first-time winner. We'll get to supporting actress here in a second. Sean Penn, of course, has won 2 Oscars. He won Best Actor in 2004 for Mystic River and 2009 for Milk. Benicio del Toro, I mentioned, won Best Supporting Actor all the way back in 2001 for Traffic. He's a long shot at this point. Shockingly, not only has the 74-year-old Stellan Skarsgård never won one, but this is his first nomination of an otherwise very illustrious career. He's been a character actor for most of his career, though. It sure seems like it's either going to be Penn or Skarsgård here. Delroy Lindo's lurking is like a super dark horse. If, again, Sinners overperforms to an absurd degree, I think we could see some Lindo love, but on nomination day, it was a surprise to many that he even got picked as a nominee. Penn, though, is priced about right to me. Skarsgård, there's a little bit of value on him. I would need about 375, plus 375 or better to bet Skarsgård.
Yeah, so the more I was thinking it's a 3-man race. Like I thought Penn was probably gonna win, but I saw one battle first, and then I saw sentimental value. The more I look at it, like Window is a dark horse. I don't think he got enough screen time. Like he was great in, the few lines he delivered, but I don't know. He was kind of like in and out of Sinners, in my opinion. Like Sean Penn was more involved and was just great. He had like the facial expressions but Skarsgård was almost like the main character in sentimental value.
He could have been put in the lead for sure.
So the fact that he's plus 376 on DK predictions, plus 400 on DK Sportsbook, I think he's the clear choice. And then you go to DK predictions, and you can also bet Sean Penn no at plus 257, which I think is great because let's say it's a 3-man race, so it's like, all right, plus 200 would equal 33%, chance of no, and it's longer than that. So I think that's actually fair too if you think it's a 3-man race between Skarsgård, Penn, and Lindo. So yeah, I think the value is on Penn no, and clearly Skarsgård yes. Like plus 376 plus 400. Like again, we don't know what CLV is going to be, so you can't go exactly by the Gold Derby stuff or exactly by anything really. It's just, is there a chance here? Is there a decent shot? Is this a 1-man race or is this a multi-man race? A or man or woman race, whatever, and multi-film race. Skarsgård, it is to me clearly in supporting actor. So I think Skarsgård is by far the choice because, like you said, he could have been cast or nominated for the lead role in that.
A couple historical data points here I wanted to bring up. I forgot to bring this up with actor when we were talking about Chalamet's chances. Again, as I mentioned, the 2 strongest predictors of acting awards are the SAG and the BAFTAs. Chalamet didn't win a SAG or a BAFTA this year. The last time Best Actor went to someone who didn't win a SAG or an BAFTA, funnily enough, was Sean Penn all the way back in 2003. The SAG went to Johnny Depp, the BAFTA went to Bill Murray, Sean Penn won the Oscar. So if Timothée Chalamet wins, he'll be bucking that trend. But that brings me to Best Supporting Actor. As I mentioned, Penn won both the SAG and the BAFTA. The last time the SAG and the BAFTA agreed and the Oscar wasn't correct was all the way back in 2002 when the SAG and BAFTA both awarded Christopher Walken and Chris Cooper won the Oscar. So that's a point in Penn's favor. But as you said, this has been a very strange race and wide open.
Yeah. Like if you're just watching it.
I wonder if Sean Penn's going to be there. He skipped out on most of the precursor shows. I don't know if it's prior obligation or if it's just he's old and doesn't give a shit anymore.
the Anthony Hopkins
yeah,
special.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm interested in if he'll be there on Sunday. I think he went to the Golden Globes, but he wasn't at the Actor Awards. He wasn't at the BAFTAs. I'm not sure.
Supporting actress. This one's wide open. We got Amy Madigan at just plus like an even money favorite for weapons. Tiana Taylor, One Battle After Another, plus 185 at the sportsbook. Wunmi Mosaku for Sinners, plus 250. And then we got a couple the two other actresses from Sentimental Value.
You don't want to try to say Inga's name? You don't want to try to say Inga's name?
I was trying to say Elle Fanning. Nah. Yeah. No, I don't. Inga. Right. Yeah, Inga and Elle Fanning from Sentimental Value. If you want to say it, go ahead.
I have heard it before. I don't want to piss off any of the Swedish people that might be listening to this podcast. But yeah, this is the most fascinating major race of the night. We've seen 3 of the 5 nominees emerge as a favorite at various times over the last couple months. Tiana Taylor was the early front runner. She's still very much in the ball game. Amy Madigan won the first major precursor award, which was the Critics' Choice Awards, which proved that she was a real player. And then the BAFTA went to Wunmi Mosaku, leading to a scenario where none of the nominees could be considered a significant favorite. I think they're all at plus money right now, or they're close to it. Madigan, though, won at the Actor Awards. That ultimately put her out front. That's where things stand. It's a tepid lead, though. And just over 50% of Gold Derby's experts and editors are on Madigan. What's surprising to me is that Taylor and Mosaku are so close at Gold Derby at 24 and 22% respectively, at least when I looked last night. I talked about this with Best Actor and the BAFTA's pick there, but I think Mosaku's being a little overrated here. She grew up in England. She was born in Nigeria. Her family emigrated there when she was a year old. And as I said, the BAFTAs are notorious for preferring their own. That the BAFTAs are the only show that Mosaku won makes her win much less meaningful in my eyes, and much less meaningful than we're seeing in the odds board. So I would downgrade Mosaku's chances here pretty significantly. The Oscar for Best Supporting Actress has gone to the SAG winner 20 of the last 25 times. It's the sharpest predictor of any of the acting categories this century. They've also matched 6 straight years, and they've only disagreed once since 2008, and that was 2018 when Regina King beat out Emily Blunt. I am sitting on early tickets on both Madigan and Taylor at plus money. I'll be riding them both out till showtime. But I think the most value here is on the SAG winner, Madigan. I think it's going to be really exciting. She's the older nominee, kind of a career achievement award. Another thing going against her, I will say, is that only once this century and only 8 times ever has a film won Best Supporting Actress with no other nominations on the night. And this is Weapon's only nomination. Vicky Cristina Barcelona in 2008 is the answer when Penelope Cruz won. So that's an uphill battle for Madigan. Obviously going against actresses from the 2 biggest films of the night, One Battle After Another and Sinners, and Tiana Taylor and Wunmi Mosaku. If Amy Madigan pulls out the win, it'll be a big deal. But I think that all signs are pointing toward her winning this on Sunday night.
Yeah, I like Madigan. I think I don't mind, hedging on Taylor because I think she was really good as well. But the thing about Madigan is, you mentioned like the predictors and Gold Derby. This is one where Gold Derby has been extremely strong. 13 of the 14 top ranked Gold Derby choices in this category, since they started tracking it, have won. So the one time that it didn't was Jamie Lee Curtis a few years ago. Now, to be fair, Amy Madigan's Gold Derby support is on that lower end, like when there was an upset with Curtis a few years ago. So that is kind of the caveat there. But generally, Gold Derby nails this at better than a 90% clip, and you can get Madigan at even money. So I still think she's the best bet. Like I'm looking for underdogs in spots where there's the favorites like minus 200, 300, 400 or up and up. Here we could get the favorite at even money. So I think you just take the favorite. That's how I would approach it. But Mosaku is not winning. I don't. The trend is Sinners is just being overrated in everything. If you haven't noticed, that's the trend. I hate to say it, but that's the trend. But all right, those are the main categories. Some decent value there compared to most years, but I think the best value tends to be in some of these other categories that are maybe a little more difficult or just not as popular. So we're gonna get into 8 more categories where we have best bets. But before we continue, let's throw it over to Sean Zerillo for a quick word from our sponsor, DraftKings.
The Action Network podcast is sponsored by DraftKings Sportsbook, and in partnership with DraftKings, our listeners get a great offer. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 back in bonus bets instantly. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Pick 6 and have the shot to win cash prizes. To get started, use promo code Action Network when signing up with DraftKings. Again, use code Action Network when signing up and bet $5 to get $200 back in bonus bets instantly. The crown is yours.
All right, so yeah, we have picks in 8 more categories. I think these are where the best bets, best value is going to be at, just because these are a little less popular. Most of them are going to be long shots or better values, but you do have one, Collin, that you like that's the favorite, but you think it's undervalued, and that is in best casting.
Yeah, this is the first year best casting. The Academy added a category this year. It's the first time in quite a while it's done that. Best casting, so we don't have any data really to go off of in best casting. What we can do is look at what the Acting Guild did with best ensemble, and that went to Sinners. I think that I'm going to assume that those 2 categories will correlate until I'm proven wrong. That I could be proven wrong this year, but every precursor, the amount of acting awards that Sinners has gotten has me pretty confident in this category. Gold Derby, I believe, is aligned here as well. Ben Zausmer of The Hollywood Reporter gives Sinners a significant edge as well. So I bet Sinners for best casting at -315. Again, it's not the juiciest number, not the most exciting bet you're going to make all night, but I think it's about as close to a lock as we're going to get while still showing value. I'd bet that up to probably about -550 for best casting.
I actually have a contrarian take here. So I agree. My model, like my Gold Derby model, actually loves this. Sinners is like 90% on Gold Derby, be like minus 900. So totally get why you would just weigh the juice here. But the people betting on Gold Derby have nothing to go off of. Like this award has never been there before. No one has anything to go off of, right? One thing we do have to go off of is that we know strong films, best picture nominated films tend to win a lot of awards. Well, you could get one battle after another at +300. I mean, I think that's worth the long shot, because what I think really does it for me is, like, Delroy was great in Sinners. One Me was okay. I agree with you. I think she's a little overrated. And then Michael B. Jordan was obviously great. But in One Battle, Leo was great. Tiana was great. Sean Penn was great. And Chase Infinity, my God. I don't even know how she didn't get nominated for something. Like, she might have been the best one in the movie. So you're talking about 4-3. And what's the best picture favorite? One battle after another.
Yeah.
So again, let's say I have an interesting kind of, I'm not sure if your sportsbook is going to let you parlay some of these or not, but if Timmy wins actor, I think there's also a decent chance that One Battle wins casting, and like you could just do like a little fade of the SAG or Actors Awards, because for the recency bias. So that's the way I would approach it. I feel you based on my straight up math, like Sinners, but again, I don't have the data. Like, we're basing it off 1 year of Gold Derby, or 0 years of Gold Derby versus 14. So I'm gonna go with the contrarian take here, and we'll be on opposite sides of this one. I'll go with One Battle at +300.
It is worth noting that all of the best casting nominees this year were best picture nominees. That's a trend that I think will continue going forward. I believe we're going to get a best stunt coordination category added to the Oscars in the next year or two. So we'll have another new category that we'll have the same issue with, and we'll grow the data pool as best we can with best casting as we go on. I will say Ben Zausmer, I cited before.
Shouts to him,
yeah,
Oscar Metrics
guy. He said he pulled 90 members of the casting society to generate as large of a training set as possible, and he makes Sinners 61% in one battle after another, just 14%.
So I like that then, because Sinners is the implied odds of Sinners is like 80%.
Yeah, but
I'll fade Sinners.
But his bottom rung guys always have a higher percentage than probably necessary, which skews the top on down. Like the Secret Agent is at 4.5%, and Hamnet's at 10%.
Yeah.
You see that in pretty much all the categories. You have to kind of pare it down a little bit. But yes, I don't have any issue with your strategy here. I just think
fade Sinners. Yeah.
I mean, but it's fun that we're doing this podcast, Chris, because we're on such opposite sides here. I think there's a chance Sinners like sets records, and you think there's a chance they set records in futility.
Yeah. Hey, the first thing I said before I started watching the films was, I was like, I'm thinking of vetting Sinners in like every category it's an underdog.
Yeah.
Because it's got so many nominations, it must be getting love. And then I watched it and I was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know. It just didn't really do it for me. But like, I'm just using straight up, like, okay, from a casting perspective, we have no data to go off of. So I can't, while I do respect like the Gold Derby people, and I do respect, the surveys and Ben, who's been doing this for a while as well, it's like the bottom line is no one has any data to go off of. And if they're doing a poll and it's only at 60% for Sinners and they're being priced at like 80%, I think the only other one that has a chance is One Battle. So I would say that's 39%. Then like I would just give all the other ones to One Battle. Like I'm surprised Sentimental Value didn't get one, since they got so many acting nominations otherwise. But I think One Battle legitimately did have better casting. Like but Tiana Taylor, like that was an amazing casting job. Tiana and Chase Infinity on its own that's just an amazing casting job. And then
really
to get that out of Sean, like even Leo is going underrated and gave like one of the best performances of his life. And it was like, no one's even talking about it. So yeah, I think it definitely has a shot, like a better than a plus 300 shot, which would be 25%. I think it has more than a 25% shot, just because that's just the vibes. That's just vibes. We have no data again. But cinematography, we both like a long shot here. One Battle After Another, the favorite. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm on Sinners again here. Plus 350. They're at plus 350 to plus 400 range. So this is pretty interesting race and how it's played out over the last couple of weeks. It looked like Sinners was going to be a strong favorite early in award season. It won the Critics Circle honor, or it won Critics Circle honors after Critics Circle honors.
Critics Choice or Critics? It's called Critics Circle.
No, like honors within individual branches of critics.
Okay.
But the momentum swung the other way. Zausmer wrote about this a little bit. One Battle After Another won the BAFTAs. It won the American Society of Cinematographers most recently, just this week. So it's jumped out to a huge lead, and it was a toss-up just around a month ago. The ASC, the American Society of Cinematographers, is a notable data point, but it's worth noting just how much more international the Academy is compared to some of these guilds. So I think Sinners is still very live. Gold Derby still has Sinners around 50%. And I know Train Dreams has some backers. I think that's where you're going to talk about a little bit, Chris. But I just think that this is going to be between Sinners and One Battle After Another. I think it's a true toss-up. And if we're seeing Sinners in like the plus 350 to plus 450 range, I think there's real value there.
I think you have to smash Sinners here and Train Dreams, because this is one where like we're just betting the numbers. Like we don't know what these voters are going to do. So it's like One Battle After Another should, whatever the case, as good as it was, should not be a prohibitive favorite in this category. Now, like you said, Gold Derby has Sinners at 46%, One Battle at 37%, Train Dreams at 17%. Sinners is going at what? Let's see. Let me just make sure we got this right, because it's been changing throughout the day. Sinners, as we record this, it's down to plus 275. It must have just got steamed. But either way, it's 46% on Gold Derby. Plus 275 implies about a 27% chance. That's massive value. So you have to take Sinners. If you're betting Sinners anywhere else, you have to take it here. Like this is like I am begging people to take Sinners. It's literally the favorite on Gold Derby, and you're getting it at plus 275. And Gold Derby, generally speaking, does know what it's talking about. Overall accuracy is usually in the 75 to 80% range over a 14-year span. So anytime you can get a long shot that's like a favorite on Gold Derby, that's like an auto play.
Yeah.
And then now I will say, I agree with you. It's a weak front runner because one battle after another, won the BAFTA and the SSC and the BSC and the ASC. But Train Dreams also interesting because, like you said, a little more international, just a little more kind of up in the air. Train Dreams isn't really an international film or anything, but just I think there is some kind of things could cancel out. Train Dreams did win a Critics' Choice, so and Gold Derby has Train Dreams at 17%, which is they think it's a legit 3-film race. So Train Dreams you could get it plus 669, plus in that range, plus 700. I take a shot there as a hedge, but you gotta smash Sinners here. Like this is like if you're just betting Sinners anywhere, please let it be here. Like please.
One thing I was curious about, and I did a quick search while you were talking here, is Train Dreams, along with Frankenstein, it should be noted, are Netflix productions, and there's been a lot of talk about how Netflix films fare at the Oscars. Obviously, it's very contentious because they don't put their movies in theaters generally the bare minimum amount to qualify. Most people see them streaming at home. So I was curious if they've had any success in the best cinematography category. And to my surprise, and to your a data point for you, the answer is yes. They've won best cinematography 3 times. Netflix produced films have All Quiet on the Western Front, Mank in 2023, Mank in 2021, and Roma in 2019 were all Netflix films that won best cinematography. So another point in the Train Dreams, I should mention, is a Netflix film. So another point in its favor there.
Yeah, Mank was the one I think is kind of the instructive one because that was 5 years ago, and that was not a favorite at the time. So that's really the one we're kind of looking at. Like, okay, if it happens, I think it's that it go that way. But this one, the other thing I think actually works. Like when you kind of I know you read these too, like those like secret ballots, and who knows if they're really real or just editors playing editor games. But if they are real, I see a lot of times where it's like, okay, well, this film got recognized here and this got recognized here, so we want to recognize this film here, right? Like, and I think the fact that Sinners and One Battle After Another both have so many nominations, Train Dreams doesn't have as many, but it was a good film. It was a shorter film, but it was very good. If they liked it enough to nominate it for Best Picture, this might be a category where people kind of say, like Sinners is going to get theirs, One Battle is going to get theirs. Let's give it to Train Dreams. So, like the fact that Gold Derby has a 3rd place this high, usually don't see that unless it's like acting and it's been like a mix up of all the different precursors. But in like one of the technical categories for a film in 3rd place to get this many, this much Gold Derby support, I'm definitely going to pay attention to that. So yeah, sprinkle on Train Dreams, but you got to smash Sinners here. This is where I go off the brand and say, you got, I got some more. I got some more coming for you, but talk to me about Best International Feature, because Sentimental Value seemed like it was loved. Like so many, 4 acting nominations, but didn't get nominated for casting somehow. But it did get nominated for Best Picture. It's in a kind of a 2-film race with The Secret Agent, and you like The Secret Agent at plus 375.
Yeah, this is my most vibes-based bet of the night. I know we talk a lot about math here. I talk a little bit about narrative, and this is very narrative-driven bet, plus 375 for Secret Agent. The Secret Agent and Sentimental Value are the only 2 best international film nominees that are nominated for Best Picture, so it's pretty easily going to be one of those 2 films that wins this award. There's nothing super obvious for why Sentimental Value should be so far ahead right now in the odds board. And from a narrative perspective, we talked about this a little bit with Sinners and One Battle After Another. The Secret Agent is a very political movie. It's about an oppressive government regime silencing its critics. It resonates with more than just Brazilian audiences. Because of that, and because of gestures broadly at the world at large right now, Sentimental Value is the only Best International Film nominee that is not political. Now, that's not to say it can't resonate with audiences. It's a father-daughter story. It's very sweet. It is very, pun intended, sentimental. It can resonate with people who aren't from that part of the world very easily. But I think given the current climate, we could see a film with a real striking message come through. I have just anecdotally heard a lot more love from people about The Secret Agent than sentimental value. I think it was seen by more people. It was made more widely available in theaters. So I think that there is very real value in Secret Agent. And these, the feature, the international feature, documentary feature, animated feature, are generally where I personally find the most value in the betting market. And this is probably my favorite bet, at plus money at least, of the Oscars, is Secret Agent here.
Yeah, I might join you. That's the one I didn't get to yet, so I'm not gonna that's right up my alley. You know, like a two film race, and you have one that's like plus 375. Yeah. So I might join you there, but don't want to give any recommendations when I haven't seen the film. But I will say I really did enjoy sentimental value. So if it was unpopular, I get why maybe there is some kind of like, okay, like maybe it's not as strong. But that was a very good film too. I get why all the actors in that film got nominated. So, but yeah, I'm looking forward to checking out Secret Agent. But you like that at plus 375 should be decent value. I mean, do you even have a limit there? I mean, it sounds like it's going to be pretty decent value.
Yeah, I'd say probably I'd probably say like it's plus 300 or better if I had to maybe plus 250.
It's actually down. So I think that got steamed too.
Oh, did it?
It's down to plus 175 on the sports book. Yeah. So it got steamed down.
Wow.
So you're saying you wouldn't bet it there. Sentimental value is minus 250. Does that change your strategy at all? This is live, so when you put it in the outline, it might have been plus 375.
Yeah, but it was. Yeah, I mean,
our producers got to stop betting our damn pick. Now I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, it's probably a stay away from me if it's not at least probably plus 250.
Okay,
I do see in the market. I'm seeing a plus 315 in the market just generally. So,
and you would take that.
There's still some odds out there that are bettable. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, at DraftKings it definitely got steamed down, which I mean, to your point, that's exactly what you're saying. It's like its odds were too long. Okay, so I got some thoughts here. I'm curious as to your opinion on these. These are a couple of probably my two favorite bets of this Oscar season, and you're gonna laugh at who I'm picking. Best production design, Sinners. Plus 600. Let's go. So here's why I like Sinners in these categories. It was a movie that it was bright. It was like the sets were great. I just think the acting was a little overrated in Sinners and like the screenplay as well. But I actually think it can pick up some of these like visual awards. So 6-1 for production design. In 2023, All Quiet. It's only getting 7%. On Gold Derby. So Gold Derby is actually fading it in this category. But in 2023, that's a few years ago, All Quiet on the Western Front won with just 3% of Gold Derby support. Twice in the last 7 years, the number one pick on Gold Derby has been upset. So that's a 29% chance there. And by the way, Frankenstein is the favorite at minus 1,400. And you agree? I think you agree that Frankenstein, it was okay. And then, but more importantly, the upset before All Quiet on the Western Front, it was also Hannah Beachler, Ryan Coogler, Black Panther, 2018. I had a bet on that too. Going back to it here, so this is where I want Sinners. When like cinematography, production design, we're getting long shot odds. If we think it's this great a movie, these are the upsets that Sinners is going to make. I think even more likely than acting. What say you?
Yeah, you talked me into it. I'll co-sign that 100%. fits into my all sinners strategy. So yeah, I 100% on board here with that at
if you like that
money and the one that you're about to mention as well.
If you like that, best makeup and hairstyling, Sinners plus 800. Let's do this again. these are the awards. I think if you think Sinners, it's going to be a Sinners night, or even if it's not going to be a Sinners night, this is still how Sinners might get to its, 4, 5, 6 awards that people think it's going to win. These awards where it's like Frankenstein, like what? Frankenstein is Frankenstein. Like what? It was cool, but like it's not like this major lock. Like it just looks like a movie that wins these type of awards. So, but interestingly enough, makeup and hairstyling. There's a guild for that. They have awards for that. Sinners beat Frankenstein in the makeup award at the Makeup Artist and Hairstylist Guild Awards. Sinners beat Frankenstein at the Hairstyling in the Makeup Artist and Hairstylist Award. So it's plus 800. That doesn't seem right. Now, it's the number 2 most likely on Gold Derby. The number 2 most likely on Gold Derby in this category has won 2 of the last 3 years. So something's off here. The market just tends to get this wrong. And so I love this. This is probably my favorite one just because it's longer even than production design. But like everyone looks at Frankenstein, it's like, okay, it's got to win something. It's going to win makeup and hairstyling. But like, what if it just doesn't? Because it wasn't that good. It was just Frankenstein. It was Frankenstein made. It was a fine rendition of Frankenstein. But this is a pretty strong year. Like if you think Sinners is a strong nominee, which I don't agree exactly on the acting front, but overall fair. Like this is where it makes its upset. So yeah, plus 800 all day for Sinners is probably my favorite bet. Production design 600 second.
I think bet. Fading Frankenstein is smart. These are really sharp spots to find a decent plus money favorite because again, when we see upsets in the Oscars, they're oftentimes in these categories that odds makers can't really possibly be as sharp in.
Yeah, odds makers they don't strike me as like visual people. So like it makes sense that like all the visual categories we're just hammering like the best picture like dark horse who like everyone wants to bet in all the popular categories that it might actually be overrated in, and then like it'll like that's such an Oscars day. It's like it'll get knocked out by like all the ones that like people will be pissed off that Timmy still won, and we're talking about the ballet thing and like all this, and one battle will just win picture like ho hum, but then Sinners will win all these like visual awards, and people are like, oh shit. So yeah, that's my angle here, and because we also like it for cinematography, so that's all the visuals essentially. And then the shorts, always my favorite to kind of get on this because I don't think anyone knows anything in this.
This is your stage. This is your stage.
Yeah,
I got no opinions here.
Sometimes you bat like 1,000. Sometimes you go for 4 on these, but this is where I go to Gold Derby because they care about this. They watch these movies. I watch some of them, the front runners, but I trust Gold Derby even more because they're usually watching all of them. You have real, like they're the best data point on these. Like you're not finding better data on these. I don't even know if you like modeling out makes more sense than just trusting the experts here who have still, again, been right with about 70-80% clip here. So best animated short, Butterfly is even money. Gold Derby has it at 74% implied minus 291. Massive value. Bet Butterfly for best animated short. Best documentary short, All the Empty Rooms is minus 169. That's that is juiced up. But Gold Derby has it at 85%. That should be minus 563. Massive value again. So All the Empty Rooms for documentary short, and then live action short, A Friend of Dorothy. Gold Derby has it as the favorite. 53% of Gold Derby picks A Friend of Dorothy. You know what its price is on DraftKings? Plus 400. So bang that.
Wow.
Best live action short, A Friend of Dorothy. Again, no one knows anything. Great value on all three of these short films here. So love those. And I think that's it. Any quick thoughts before we get out of here? Favorite bet out of all the bets?
I think my favorite bet at the price is The Secret Agent for Best International Feature. I hit a nice bet a couple years ago on Best Animated Feature at the same price range, and that was also kind of vibes based. So I'm right there. And best overall bet, most confident bet at the price is probably Amy Madigan for Best Supporting Actress.
Yeah, and then just to recap your other bets, you like Sinners for Best Picture at a price, and for actor, you like MBJ, anything plus money, a long shot on Mora, and supporting you like Skarsgård, right?
Yeah.
And
We're in
like I said-
lockstep.
oh, yeah.
We're in lockstep on most of these, aren't we?
Yeah, it's just I'm fading Sinners a little hard.
Yeah.
I like Timmy for actor. I'm really confident in that just because I think he should be the rightful favorite and he's not. But best bets are Sinners for production design at 6-1 and for makeup and hair at 8-1. Also, and I think great value on the on Sinners in cinematography as well because you're getting it as a long shot and it's the favorite on Gold Derby. And again, if you can bet those shorts on DK, value on Butterfly, All the Empty Rooms, and A Friend of Dorothy. That's going to do it. Thank you for joining me, Collin. Always a pleasure. Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, find me in the Action app, CO Whitchurch. If you're curious how to spell that, it's just Cow Hit Church. I'm also over on Blue Sky where I'm talking nonsense, and I write about the movies I watch. I am a film critic of sorts. Go on Substack and look for Wanna Watch if you ever want to read what my thoughts on movies beyond just from a betting perspective.
And I am Chris Raybon. You can find me at Chris Raybon on Twitter and on the Action app. That's going to do it for the Action Network podcast, Oscars 2026, presented by DraftKings. Let's get this money.